What's up, everybody? I want to start off this video by saying that I never in a billion years thought I would be in this spot that I would need to make a GoFundMe page. But alas, I'm here. Little backstory, I put it in the narrative. It's all written out kind of thing, but the basic backstory is, I'm 6'5", 330 most of the time, so I'm a big boy. And of course, what does that mean? It means you end up playing offensive line in high school. And then for myself, it was college as well. And back then when we were young, it's all about, just go get it hard. I remember back in high school, the whole to where you're like, your ears were ringing and you're like, hey, give me more. So you put your head in there to bing, and you're like, oh, give me more. Only to find out later that wasn't the best thing in the world. You get into college, and my junior year, I had a really bad concussion. I guess I was out for a while and didn't know where I was at. But, faked it off as best we could, as we do in college. And there was no concussion protocol really in the 90s in Arkansas in Division II. It was archaic back before any of this came about. I had those things and all, and then it just kind of led. After I got out of college, didn't think much about it, but then all of a sudden I was having these bad neck tics and things like that. And so go to the neurologist, they do all these tests. Well, apparently, so you go into college or whatever, but with your younger life, pretty much clean bill of health. And then after all the bells and dings and hits, somehow I come out of college with Tourette's. So what does that mean? At the time, I didn't know nothing. So it's just, what are we taught? Put your head down and go forward. So that's what I did. And then you keep going forward and forward and forward. And nothing really bad was happening except for a few spells here and there until about 2016. And then all of a sudden, I started noticing symptoms. I may have noticed them before, but I've actually seen on text where I've talked to people and it was mentioning it back then. I used to say it was dizziness. But it's not really dizziness. It's more of a disorientation type thing. And it started back, like I said, 2015, 2016, to where I was struggling to ride a bicycle here. Driving was starting to be an issue. And around any type of movement, stuff started being an issue. What? Chalk it up? I don't know what's wrong with me. Just go on. I didn't have insurance at the time, so just push on through, do the best you can. And then you get up to around 2020, 2021, the one time in the last 15 years I've had insurance. I went and had a ton of tests done, MRIs, CAT scans, sinuses, all sorts of tests. I thought I must have had a brain tumor or something because of the dizzy and this disorientation. And back in 2020, when I was doing all the TikToks and stuff, I even trained against that to where I was putting an eye patch over one eye to try to train if I had a weak eye. So in 2021, I had all this tests done, and I will never forget the last one. I was at ENT for a long time, and after, like I said, tons of tests and like 5 hours at their office doing all sorts of tests, she was reading off the results, and at the end, her whole tone of her voice just changed. And I was, why'd your voice just change? And I'll never unhear it. She just said, I'm sorry you're so young. I'm like, what's that mean? She said, you're having the symptoms of a 80-year-old. You're everything you described to me and that you're experiencing is either, could be early Parkinson's, early dementia, but it's something. And she said that she had done her doctorate, I think, at Tulane, I think she said. And she said they really study into CTE. So that's when she tells me that with all the tests done and all the symptoms and everything points at the one place it points to was CTE. What did I know about CTE at the time? Nothing. She writes down, has a list of what could happen and different things, just a list. And I'm like, that ain't me. And then I realize it is me and the things that's happening. So what do? I freak out, but what else can you do? You just gotta keep going. Like we were taught, put your head down and go forward. And the reason I could do that at that time is at the time in that 2020 range, from about 2018 to 2022 in there, I was really lucky and fortunate enough to be able to train special needs. And I was able to do some crazy results. I really feel that that was my one life true calling, was to be able to train them and do the things that we were able to do with them. It was my huge passion, and enough to where we ended up on ABC News in December of 2019 about how I don't have a training background but an agriculture background, and how I was able to do these great things with special needs. And that was my true calling. I loved it. And when that went away, yes, it hurt. But that's how I could keep going. And with training, I could keep doing it with all these crazy symptoms that I was having, because with training and things, like if I have you do this exercise and I put my hand on this post right here and lean against it while you're doing it, you might think I'm just being lazy, but in the whole scheme of things, I might be hanging on so I don't fall. So, and that's where it's got to be, is I took and did it the best I could as long as I can. And now it's got to be where I can't train people at all. I can barely do things myself. Walking has got to be a big issue now, to where I have to have my trekking poles. At least I got one of them at every door just in case, and things like that. And it gets to where I struggle a lot with comprehending things. I used to be able to think on the fly. Maybe that's just an age thing, but anyway, it's gotten so bad where, I had to sell my truck, had to sell my favorite bicycle. It was the bicycle I wanted my whole life. Had to sell it because I can't ride anymore. I can't drive anymore. I struggle to ride in the passenger seat. It's like, it doesn't matter if I'm sitting down, standing up, whatever, the disorientation feeling that I'm feeling is an all the time thing. The hardest part of CTE, or the traumatic brain injuries that a lot of people, I'm finding out, the biggest thing for a lot of us is nobody believes us. It's like, oh, you look fine. You look like a big, healthy guy. Ain't nothing wrong with you. But the whole world is coming apart in my head. And if I can't do something that all basically I have to do is stand there, point, and do, and that's all I have to. If I can't do that because I can't even think my way through it, that's just no way to live. And I'm really struggling, and things have just got so bad. And it's just like, my biggest thing is about movement. It's some kind of sensory thing, and it screws me up bad. And that's where it's got so bad. And but I was able to push through it until I couldn't. And, for the years, that's all I've been doing. I just barely making by, but just doing, pushing, fight. And then this condition, whatever it is, it just finally got to me, and to where I'm really in a bad place now. Not just physically, mentally, when nobody believes you, it seems, and all you're doing is crying for help, and everybody, well, you should try this, you should try that. For a long time, for years, I haven't had medical insurance, so I just do without. And I'm really lucky right now that somehow, I guess because I'm actually at the bottom now, is I qualified for the Pinellas County health card or whatever, that you can do primary care through the health department. So I have a doctor's appointment coming up. It's the first time I'll be seeing a doctor in years. And I've had a infected toe. If some of y'all that follow me on certain social medias have probably seen it, a pretty nasty infection for 14 months, but I didn't have any way to do it. And I had all but given up on life, just given up. It's bad, it's going to get worse. And it's a terrible place to be, but actually be able to, I know my triglycerides are high. I know I've had an infected toe for 14 months. I know this, and the Pinellas County thing said they could help you, or help me have an advocate for disability. And maybe it'll help to have their doctors talk and help see if I can get some sort of disability. But that's where I'm fortunate that I have had that. And it runs into why I'm on here now is I'm kind of like hope has come too late. It's like I've run out of money. I was just doing the best I could, tried the best I could, and here I am. So now I'm just here to, kind of, I guess, throw myself at your mercy. I cry a lot, and there's just no hope in life. I'm scared to death. I'm 49 years old, and I struggle to walk to the mailbox because I think the world's trying to attack me, basically. It's not a good place to be, and if you find it in your heart to help, it would mean the world to me. I really have always enjoyed helping people, and the fact that I can't really help the way I used to has really destroyed me. And I don't know, I just guess I'd leave it at that, and hopefully you can help. And if not, I understand, because I'd love to help people too, and I'm just not in the spot. So thank you so much for watching this. I originally planned to make this 3 or 4 minutes, and here we are at 11 minutes. Maybe you'll listen to it, maybe you won't. But hey, thanks for being here, and I appreciate everybody.